good studio monitor there.
All right, good evening, everybody. Let's call this meeting to order for today, Monday, November 14, 2022, Sunnyside City Council regular meeting. Got a long agenda, potentially, so we're going to try to get started and get moving. First item is the roll call. Madam City Clerk.
I am here. Councilor Bealers?
Here.
Councilor Farmer? Councilor Ripley?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Riscucci?
Here.
Councilor Hicks?
Here.
Councilor Hart?
Here.
Manager Alba? Here. Spencer Yan here. Finance and Administration here. Fire Chief Anderson?
I'm here.
Acting Police Chief Lehman?
Here.
Public Works Director Fisher?
Here.
Oh, I would say if not, he has an excused absence.
Community and Economic Development Director Martin?
Here.
Attorney Ken Riley?
Here.
All right, Councilor Farmer has asked for an excused absence. If there's no objection, excused. All right, next item is our invocation. Do we have somebody here to give the invocation this evening? Oh. I'd ask you please rise for the invocation and remain standing afterwards for the Pledge of Allegiance.
So Lord, we come to you tonight, and God, we thank you that as we look to you for guidance and wisdom and direction, Lord, in making decisions, your word tells us very clearly in Psalm 127, verse 1, where you said that unless the Lord builds a house, the work of the builders is wasted. That unless the Lord protects the city, guarding it with sentries, no good. Lord, it's obvious what you tell us in that, Lord God, that it's very important that we include you in everything concerning our city, our nation. Lord God, I just pray right now over the city council tonight. I pray, Father, that you give them wisdom, Lord God, for all the decisions and all the things they need to discuss tonight. I pray over our city manager, Elizabeth, Lord God, and I pray that you do the same, guide her and direct her as well. I lift up our fire chief. I pray for our police chief. Lord God, I pray over the businesses here in our city, that God, they just prosper and that your favor would be upon them. God, I speak against, Lord God, the violence and the crime and all the things, Lord God, that would try to put a smear on our city, God, and we just speak a covering over our city tonight. Pray, Father, that, Lord, you would bless them, bless this city, bless this time tonight, and we pray this in Jesus' name.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
you may be seated. Except for Ms. Ramirez, I'd like to ask you to come forward. Ramirez is our newest appointed member to the City Planning Commission, and so tonight we are swearing her in. So I'd like to welcome you, and I'll give you this, and you can follow along. Okay. Please raise your right hand. I state your name. Being first duly sworn upon oath, depose and say. That I will well and truly perform the duties of office as a member of the Planning Commission of the City of Sunnyside, Washington. Which I have been appointed. That I will observe and uphold the ordinances of the City of Sunnyside. The statutes and Constitution of the State of Washington. And the Constitution of the United States. During my tenure in office as such Planning Commission member. Okay, language is sometimes difficult to read, but welcome aboard, and thank you for your willingness to serve. And there's a couple lines, one for you to sign and one for me to sign, so you can borrow a flat spot here and sign those. So I don't know if we've got somebody here who wants to take pictures to record this occasion. do that, I'll shake your hand. Thank you. Right, our next item of business is the introduction of our new interim chief of police, Madam City Manager.
I'd like to introduce Acting Chief Rob Lehman. He is here today and is already making huge changes at our police department. Welcome, Rob.
Chief, would like to welcome you and wish you the best of success. You come at a difficult time, but great opportunity, and we certainly need changes to make this move forward, so I wish you well. Next item is public comments. Citizens are advised that they must limit their remarks to the council to 3 minutes. Council may refer items to staff to review and/or research for presentation at a future council meeting. And note, you are supposed to have signed up. Hopefully you have indicated whether you'd like feedback or follow-up from your comments. There's a box that you were to have checked. If I get that, I'll call. All right, we have three. Our first is Mr. Mike Kennard.
My name is Mike Kennard. I frequently attend council meetings, and, excuse me, as a member of the public audience, usually I choose not to speak, merely observe the process, but without formally making any comment. But after my attending the regular meeting on Monday, October 24th, I cannot ignore something I witnessed, which I judge to be absolutely deplorable. After the mayor declared the city council to be in session, giving the invocation was volunteered by a gentleman in attendance. But as soon as Councilman Martin Beeler arrived, but was not yet seated, he immediately bowed his head and remained quiet and motionless until the entire invocation was finished. However, at that very same time, and also arriving late after the invocation began, Councilwoman Julia Hart chose to continue to proceed towards her chair position at the city council desk, all the while the invocation was continuing to be read. I am appalled, embarrassed, and angry that it is tolerated for someone to arrive late, habitually late, in the middle of an innovative invocation, carefully prepared by a fellow citizen, and upon arrival, disrespectfully make their way to their seat. And no one says anything. No one says anything. Not a council member, not the mayor, not the staff, not anybody in here. Everybody just lets it go. How am I supposed to respect this leadership when the leadership does not respect fellow citizens and even God, for that matter? Let's get our act together and live up to the standards of your positions. Follow your own rules and improve the integrity of our city by representing it in a professional manner.
Sure. Our next speaker would be Sis Kennard.
Hi, from Sunnyside, Washington. I am actually the co-manager
Ma'am,
of.
could you speak into the microphone? Thank you. You can adjust it down.
Food bank in Sunnyside that serves, families of Sunnyside 50 Fridays a year. And last Friday, we ran into a little situation because it happened to be Veterans Day, which we, and there was a veteran ceremony that was going on at the same time. We were trying to do our traditional, service to the people of the community. I really am just here to say thank you. We managed to make that work. Sometimes our food bank project is considered a nuisance here. I will tell you that this Friday, when the public works and the city manager and everybody came together and made it so that we could serve the 343 families that we served Friday from 9:30, or 9 o'clock to 11:30. I just want to say thank you. Job well done. I couldn't figure out how to make it work, and I certainly didn't have enough personnel to put people on street corners or do those kind of things, but we made it happen. And I want to say thank you for that.
Council, no objection?
So I wanted to let you know, and please let, all of your volunteers know, we'll be doing this on a permanent basis. So from now on, we will be there at 6 a.m.
There's been times when I'm standing out there in the freezing cold and somebody comes racing by there. It's pretty scary.
We're going to keep the same route because we all thought that worked very well. And our personnel will be there Friday every time we go. And if we could get a schedule, we'd love that. Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you. And the third and final speaker signed up is Jim Stevens.
Jim Stevens, 328 Grandview Avenue. Besides the annual performance by the city that helped the food, also held a little banquet of their own inside City Hall for the people that the Veterans Memorial, which I thought was absolutely outstanding, to support that movement, and which Greg Schlee is a standout nationally for the effort that he's made. I think Mike makes a good point, not to punish anybody here, but it's what we're seeing today. To a funeral, some cell phone goes off and he answers. And these are the sorts of things I think that we, as leaders of the community, need to look at. Sometimes we may be a little unpopular when we bring them up, but I think we need to. As a member of IWatch, I do this all the time. I'm not very, and I care that people, I want to like people, not like me, but we need to support the police. You're parking on the yard, you're parking the wrong way, you're speeding down our street. We got a semi parked out here. I call the police. I think that's my job. If we don't do that, we're going to lose our whole community, like we're starting to lose our country. So each one of us needs to stand and perform. To support Chief Lehman and his work that he's going to do here currently. I hope the council supports him by calling in some outside evaluation. To lay that on him solely. Business person, that's what I would do, and this is business against me. That would be fair to him, fair to all the officers. So, anyway, high five again to your call to change leadership in the department was a bold one. As for the community, I also actually like him very much as a to see things on great confidence.
Thank you, sir. Thank you to everybody who spoke. Your comments have been noted. Next item, consent agenda. Consent agenda consists of the following: minutes, approve the minutes of the August 8, 2022 regular meeting. Payroll vouchers, approve payroll vouchers number 119187 through 119192, and wire transfers as listed for $794,354.53 for the period ending on October 25, 2022. Claim vouchers, approve claim voucher numbers 104793 through 104850, and wire transfers as listed for $148,502.87 for the period ending on October 26, 2022. Approve claim voucher numbers 104851 through 104891, and wire transfers as listed for $123,764.36 for the period ending on November 2, 2022. And approve claim voucher numbers 104892 through 104959, and wire transfers as listed for $373,580.06 for the period ending on November 9, 2022. Does any council member wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? Hearing none, what is the desire of council on this?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
A motion by Councilor Hicks, second by Councilor Ripley to approve the consent agenda as presented. Debate on this item. All right, Madam City Clerk, would you go down the roll for the vote?
Councilor Ripley,
Yes.
Mayor Burisma,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Masucci,
Yes.
Beavers,
Yes.
Councilor Hicks,
Yes.
Councilor Hart,
Yes.
and there's 6 yes votes.
Thank you, motion carries. Active agenda. Item A, City Council electoral redistricting. Consider adopting an ordinance approving the City Council electoral redistricting. Madam City Manager.
Sorry, I'm actually gonna ask Byron from, YB-COG to come up and give us a report.
Byron, the floor is yours.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor, Council, Ms. Elba, for having me here tonight. We were last in front of you on November 4th to introduce the draft plan or the draft map for the redistricting. No public comments were received. However, Mr. Mayor and Council Member Rasucci did have a question on the population difference. At that time, I hypothesized that it was due to the census blocks occasionally being outside of city limits, and when I dug into that, fortunately, that was not the case. What I did find out was that the census blocks, how they are laid out, and I have handouts that I'll provide here.
Yes, please.
Where there is a census block that is the manufactured home park. That's at the very northwestern edge of District 4. Has a very high population density compared to many of the other census blocks. And in an effort to contain the census block within, okay, and I have 2 others. But the reason why that population difference exists is because of the complexities of getting the census blocks all to line up along geographic borders. So, in the packet that I handed out, there are 3 pages. The first page is the existing districts. District 1 has a population of approximately 4,000. District 2 has a population of approximately 6,000. District 3 is approximately 3,500, and District 4 is approximately. So the next page is the census blocks and the population within those census. And you can see a lot of them vary in size, anywhere from single digits all the way up to on the very westerly side of District 4 You can see where that manufactured home park is 1,300. So that's the reason why there's that. Broadly speaking, the gap in population is narrowing. For example, the current District 3 was 3,500 and District 4 is 52. That's a significant size was close.
And thank you, sir, for that clarification, because, you know, we were looking at like 200 or so person difference, and now we're seeing that in the current situation, if it goes unchanged, we've got quite a bit larger differences in districts. So thank you for clearing that up. Council members, any questions? Hearing none, council, what is the desire of council on this item?
Approve.
Second.
All right, motion by Councilor Beeler, second by Councilor Ripley to adopt an ordinance approving the Sunnyside Council electoral redistricting. Is there debate on this item? Hearing none, Madam City Clerk.
Councilor Ripley,
Yes.
Mayor Bursman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fitchie,
Yes.
Councilor Beeler,
Yes.
Councilor Hicks,
Yes.
Councilor Hart,
Yes.
and the 6 yes votes.
Thank you, motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Very welcome, thank you.
Item B, 2023 preliminary budget public hearing, 1 of 2. Form. This public hearing is being held to receive public comments and recommendations concerning the 2023 preliminary budget. The concern is that this hearing be fair in form and substance as well as appearance. Council members, do any of you have a conflict of interest concerning this issue? Do any of you stand to gain or lose any financial benefit as a result of the outcome of this hearing? If your answer is yes, please speak now. Council members, can you hear and consider this in a fair and objective manner? If your answer is no, please speak now. Audience members, is there anyone in the audience who objects to my participation or any other council member's participation in these proceedings? If there are objections, please approach the microphone, state your name and city of residence, and state your objection. Time is now 6:52 p.m. and this public hearing is open. All right, city manager will now provide the staff report on this item.
I'm actually going to turn this over to Jameson Warner, the Administrative Services Director.
Ms. Horner.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council, City Manager. What you have in front of you is the draft ordinance for the preliminary budget as was presented to you when you received the preliminary budget at the end of October. This preliminary budget is still under, construction, basically. Still working on a number of things, namely staffing levels, which we've had good talks about, capital purchases with one-time revenues, and capital project funding that is both funded with grants and loans, and then also self-funded issues. So I'm trying to nail down some of those numbers as close as we can get to accurate. And then also some enhancement requests for equipment and upgrades 2023. So when you see this next time, there will be some changes, and we'll go over those with you at that. As we have discussed in previous meetings, we are looking at condensing some of our positions that were proposed, and revising some of the enhancement requests, and looking closely at how we are funding some of our construction projects.
Person in the audience wishing to be heard on this matter, please approach the microphone, state your name and address, and offer your testimony. And Pete? Council members, any questions or comments on this item? Okay, I think you've been very thorough with us over the past few months, and so you answered already most of the questions that might have come up, so that sounds good. All right, there being no additional comments from the public or council, let the record show that this public hearing is now closed and the time is 6:54 p.m. Good. And this item will be coming up for a vote at a later date. Item C, police vehicle purchase. Consider authorizing the city manager to purchase 2 police vehicles and have them outfitted. Madam City Manager.
I'm going to turn this over to Acting Chief Lehman, and let him know he needs to push the little button there to be active, if you're on the microphone, and let him give the staff report.
Chief.
So right now, you guys are probably aware, it's really difficult to find vehicles. So we've ordered some vehicles that are not gonna come in until June, some as late as August. That's preliminary timeframes. I know that their neighbors have ordered vehicles that came in last year.
If I can interrupt for a second, Chief, if you could speak a little more into the microphone, those listening online have a hard time sometimes hearing those. I think so.
So I know of neighboring agencies that have ordered vehicles, and last year they never came. Ford canceled those orders and increased the price $6,000. So what we have is the opportunity where Bud Clary Toyota, I believe it is, or Chevrolet, and Longview ordered like 40 Chevrolet Tahoes for a police agency. They backed out. Those vehicles are sitting on the lot, and we're interested in purchasing 2 of those vehicles. We have some vehicles that have been totaled, and if we wait for the Fords to come in mid to late summer, we could be in a real predicament with the any other vehicles being damaged. The proposal is to purchase 2 Chevrolet Tahoes that are on the lot. We can have them here within a week, and then right now the lighting packages for those are about 90 days out because of the lead time.
Thank you, sir. Council members, any questions for the chief?
Is there going to be any problems going from Ford to Chevy in our fleet maintenance?
So, speaking with the city mechanics, right now we do have we have a Ford car, we have a Ford Explorers, we do have 2 Tahoes online now, they're a little bit older. We've got Chevy Trailblazer, we've got a couple of Dodge Chargers, so kind of and just throw one more thing into the mix, just update a couple of the Tahoes we've got now.
So the cars that were totaled, were they, and I hope this is true, were they some of the older cars that we were looking to get rid of anyway?
One was an older car, and that was, I think our oldest, it was the only Crown Vic we had, still. And the other one was totaled about 2 years ago in an incident. Summer, one of our police vehicles and a sheriff's office vehicle, consequently led to a officer-involved shooting. But that vehicle was totaled, I think, about 2 years ago.
I know we just had 2 new Ford Explorers show up this past year, and I'm sure hate to see those brand new cars getting all messed up already.
Yeah, no, those are in good shape.
They live a tough life, I recognize that, so. All right, so I'm looking at 2 numbers here, on the screen in front of us. It says the total cost of the project is $126,744, and I was given the number $150,626. And I'm assuming the 150 is the correct number, so council members, be aware of that it's a little more money than was originally on the sheet. Any other questions by council members? Hearing none, what's the desire of council on this item?
To proceed with the purchase of vehicles.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion by Councilor Beeler, a second by Councilor Ripley to authorize the city manager to purchase 2 police vehicles and have them outfitted. Is there debate on this item? None. Madam City Clerk?
Councilor Ripley,
Yes.
Mayor Bergman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tucci,
Yes.
Wheeler,
Yes.
Councilor Hicks,
Yes.
Councilor Hart,
Yes.
and there's 6 yes votes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Item D, Bruce Paul Final Annexation Ordinance. Consider adopting an ordinance completing the annexation of parcel number 220902-11010, also known as the Bruce and Sharon Paul Annexation. Madam City Manager.
Sorry, I will pass this over to Trevor Martin, our
Mr. Martin.
City Council, and what you have before you tonight, hopefully this is somewhat familiar, a little aged, a little old, but hopefully it's familiar. I have the Bruce Paul annexation. It went through, I think they initially, and it kind of made its way through a couple of hands. And what I have before you tonight is the final ordinance. Final bit of paperwork that we finalize it. That way, it's also, their parcel will become part of the city of Sunnyside.
All right, council members, any questions for Mr. Martin?
Where exactly is this?
So I have a map to the packet. So it is on the south side of Emerald and
Okay, further questions or comments? I'm trying to get myself situated here too, so just give me a second. And refresh my memory here, Mr. Martin, is he planning on construction here, or what's the idea?
so it's going to be annexed. When it's annexed, it'll all go to the M1 zoning district. So, I don't think it's time, but it would be like.
Okay. And this is just to the east of Fort Ute Road, or just west of Fort Ute Road. Very good. Further questions or comments by council? What is the desire of council on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I move to consider adopting an ordinance completing the annexation of parcel number 220-902-11010, also known as the Bruce and Sharon Paul annexation.
Second. All right, thank you. Motion by Deputy Mayor Restucci, second by Councilor Hicks, to adopt an ordinance completing the annexation of parcel number 220-902-11010, also known as the Bruce and Sharon Paul annexation. Debate on this item? None. Madam City Clerk?
Councilor Ripley,
Yes.
Mayor Gordon,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tucci,
Yes.
Councilor Vila,
Yes.
Councilor Hicks,
Yes.
Councilor Hart,
Oops. Yes.
Mayor, there's 6 yes votes.
Thank you. Motion carries. All right, next item. Ramos final annexation ordinance. Consider adopting an ordinance completing the annexation of parcel number 221-024-31406, also known as Ramos annexation. And Madam City Manager.
I will turn this over to Trevor.
Martin.
Again, so this is, again, probably not totally unfamiliar, a little old, but not completely unfamiliar to you. I have an application upon the final ordinance here, from Ignacio Ramos, for approximately 3.51 acres. And that's located at the north side of Fairview Road. And when that one comes into the city, they're looking at moving to R2, medium density residential. Final paperwork, wrapping up the application, finalize it so I can forward it off to you.
I'm gonna ask the clerk if you can scroll up so that we can see the map. Sometimes I know for myself, at least, these annexations mean nothing until I can see the picture on the map, so it's very helpful. Council members, any questions or comments on this item?
I'm still not entirely sure where that's at.
None. Ms. Hart, I heard you speaking. Do you have a question?
Yes, I'm still having a little trouble trying to figure out. I see Fairview Avenue, but what is it in conjunction with? I'm not sure where this area is. I'm sorry.
Mr. Martin, are you able to illuminate us exactly where is Fairview Avenue and where are these lots?
So it looks like it's near Victory Way, that Reeves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
But it's right on the north end of town.
Yeah,
Again, they don't have any plans of what they want to do, they just want to annex.
I believe I remember some conversation earlier about this. So yes, thank you. Thank you for illustrating that better. Thank you.
All right, further comments or questions? Hearing none, what is the desire of council on this item?
Move to approve.
Second,
All right, sorry, Mr. Beaver beat you. We have a motion by Councilor Hicks, second by Councilor Beeler to adopt an ordinance completing the annexation of parcel number 221-024-31406, also known as the Ramos annexation. Debate on this item? Madam City Clerk.
Councilor Ripley,
Yes.
Mayor Martin,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tucci,
Yes.
Councilor Beeler,
Yes.
Councilor Hicks,
Yes.
Councilor Hart,
yes.
Mayor 6 yes votes.
Thank you, motion carries. Item F, another annexation. Sanchez final annexation ordinance. Consider adopting an ordinance completing the annexation of parcel number 221-024-41447, also known as Sanchez annexation. Madam City Manager.
I'm sorry. My brain is racing tonight, just so you're aware. It's in about 10 different directions this evening. I will pass this over to Trevor for the second.
Mr. Martin.
For you, one final annexation ordinance, and this one is with an application initially submitted by Jesus Sanchez, and approximately 1.06 acres in size, and located on the west side of Washout Road. This property comes into the city. They're looking at moving to an R1 low density residential project specific project at this time, or this annexation. I got just the final paperwork, so I can set it up.
Council members, questions or comments? As we can see, this is Beckner Alley and then a little bit north across from the schools there. This area has been developing. There's been some housing recently constructed and moved into that area, so this is a trend that is continuing, and I believe will continue to trend. So, the idea, what is council's desire on this item?
I'll move to approve the ordinance completing the annexation of parcel number 221-024-41447, also known as Sanchez annexation.
Second.
All right, motion by Councilor Ripley, second by Councilor Beeler. Already read it, I'm not going to read it again. Debate on this item. Hearing none, Madam City Clerk.
Councilor Ripley,
Yes.
Mayor Gordon,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tucci,
Yes.
Councilor Beeler,
Yes.
Councilor Hicks,
Yes.
Councilor Hart,
Yes.
Mayor 6 yes votes.
Thank you, motion carries. So these annexations are important. City of Sunnyside continues to grow, and there's pressure on it to grow, so we're going to be seeing annexations in the future as well. And so long-range planning is going to become more and more important to us, I believe. So, Mr. Martin, your job is not getting any smaller. Thank you for your work on this item. Item G, Image Trend Elite. Consider authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Image Trend for EMS Health Information Technology Services. Madam City Manager.
We'll ask Fire Chief Anderson to.
Mayor, council member, city manager. Back in October, city council community paramedic program, so we can provide a little bit better service to the citizens in and around Sunnyside, through better utilization of resources. That program, comes with $100,000 in funding. One, as long as we meet certain milestones. One of those milestones is to meet certain health information technology. I had initially our program that we've been using since 2004 would meet the requirements, however, it does. So we started looking around. We met with our medical director over the matter, the hospital, and the recommendation was image trend, in part because the state uses image trend and there'd be some, as well as our billing company. So there'd be the other issue that we found out basically also is that our current RMS system was purchased in 2021 by another company called ESO. ESO then sort of kind of almost perfect timing informed us that they're going to shut. So we will have to go to something at some point probably. So this funding kind of sort of benefit. I would just see further while we have someone else.
Council members, questions or comments?
Mind for dumping the other one early?
Well, so with image trend, one of the issues I'm concerned with, right now we're just looking, for ERS, we do fire and EMS. And this is specifically only to EMS. So I'm trying to get the rest of the county, because countywide, all the departments use ERS, and we've actually defined, oh, we're all going to have to find something else. So my hope is that we will, Sunnyside is the only agency pay for just this little piece of it, and then we'll get the countywide to go. Then we'll eventually have one. Now it's going to be extra work. The other thing that's the benefit of this as well, too, I think some of the things, it's only a few years old. It's a whole lot better. The other part is it also improves, it should improve our productivity. Right now, basically the work product is that the process is that they have to do it on paper and then come back to the station. With this, where we intend and envision that it will be entirely paperless, or that they're basically doing a report one time and not twice. So it should improve our productivity as well.
Other questions? Council members on the Zoom meeting, council members, do you have any questions?
No questions, Mr. Mayor.
No questions.
So do we incur any kind of a penalty for backing out of this contract early, or are we fine with that?
No, the way this one actually works is it's just based on milestones. It's up to $150,000 if we don't hit a milestone.
Well, I was thinking of our current contract with
PRS?
Yeah.
No, because basically ESO is all the agencies discontinuing ERS, and that they're going to basically move. If we don't leave, we'll move on to their. They have not basically said what the price is, but we did get quotes. I had that check into ESO as well as image trend to see more affordable, but less affordable. They're actually very comparable. When he looked into the features and the things that we did, the capabilities, image trend was like comparing apples. Answer to that is I don't
think so. Okay. So, well, I am in favor of anything that brings cohesiveness. If all the departments are working together on the same platform, that means you communicate better, you all understand each other's systems a little bit better, and I think that sort of thing is a good idea. I know sometimes agencies work together, and at least that maybe your agencies will speak together. Also,
I'm hopeful that, like I said, I think this is progress. I'll have to come back once we decide where the county's going, where the chiefs are going. fire side. Worst case scenario is that we can't funding for 2 years. When chiefs go another way.
Good, thank you, sir. Further questions for the chief? All right, what's the desire of council on this item?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
All right, we've got a motion by Councilor Hicks, second by Councilor Ripley to authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with Image Trend for EMS Health Information Technology Services. Debate on this item. Seeing none, Madam City Clerk?
Councilor Ripley,
Yes.
Mayor Versa,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tucci,
Yes.
Councilor Wheeler,
Yes.
Councilor Hicks,
Yes.
Councilor Ward,
yes,
6 yes votes.
Thank you, motion carries. Item H, Local Crime Lab Professional Services Agreement. Consider authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with YV-COG for crime lab services. Madam City Manager.
Okay, so this item is an item with Yakima Valley Conference of Government. As you all know, their board and their staff have been working really, really hard to bring forth a countywide local crime lab. This is the agreement to actually make that happen. Our former police chief was not in favor of this and asking me to not enter in this agreement. I didn't really get a solid answer of why it wasn't a good thing. So after reviewing it and speaking director of YV-COG, I realized that this is an awesome program for us to enter into. If we don't utilize every single service they provide, the things they do provide offers us local turnaround on things at the crime lab that sometimes through the state takes 3 days or 60 days. So I'm recommending that we put this in as a budget amendment, and this would be a 2023. So it's really not an amendment, but it is to start in 2023. It's an amendment to that budget. Not current year. So I just want you to know that I fully support this, and I think this is a good addition to what we already do in our city.
Council members, questions or comments here?
A one-time payment for a year?
Correct. It's an interlocal agreement with them, and basically it will provide joint services to all the cities in the valley and then sheriff's department. And so this is our little piece of that one big pie of cost.
If I remember right, it also lets the police and Optimus police talk to each other through.
I believe that's a different service. Yeah, that would be,
That's the Integrated Public Safety System, or YACCORS.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Other questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Sorry.
as recently when the director of the YV-COG came and gave us a presentation on this particular lab, local crime lab, I think it'll benefit the entire county, and in particular benefit Sunnyside. So I'm firmly in favor of us entering into this agreement for the crime lab services.
Thank you, Ms. Hart. I'm going to have to jump in and agree on that one with Ms. Hart. I think this is an amazing benefit to our city and our county. I think it will allow us to get some things done a lot quicker than what we've had to do with the state. They are so backlogged, they cannot even begin to get things done in what I would call a timely manner, just because there's so much going on. And this has been an idea that's been worked on for some time, and most cities in the valley are fully in favor of it. Our sheriff is fully in favor of it. I can't imagine why we would not be in favor of it. I think this is something for all of us. So that's my opinions on that.
Mr.
What
Mayor?
is the desire on this?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Sorry, sir. I just wanted to weigh in and agree with you and Ms. Hart. This is a great program. I've been working on this for almost 2 years now, so I'm really excited to see this finally come to fruition. I am a signatory on the document, so I won't recuse myself, Mr. Mayor, but I needed to place that on the record. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you, sir. All right, what is the desire of council on this item?
Move to approve?
Second.
All right, motion by Councilor Ripley, second by Councilor Hicks to authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with YVCOG for crime lab services. Debate on this item. Hearing none, Madam City Clerk, could you go down the roll for the vote, please?
Councilor Ripley,
Yes.
Mayor Warrington,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Masucci,
Yes.
Councilor Wheeler,
Yes.
Councilor Hicks,
Yes.
Councilor Farmer, Councilor Hart,
yes.
Mayor Masucci, yes vote.
Thank you, motion carries, and thank you, everybody. This has been a long time coming. Item I, YVCOG 2023 Regular Assessment and Non-Federal Match. Consider approving payment for membership with the Yakima Valley Council of Governments for 2023. Madam City Manager.
This is our regular assessment for the YVCOG regular services, so our general membership, and it's been voted unanimous by their board, and we had our voting member in attendance. This is our annual assessment to member agencies, contracted fees, and grants, donations, or other sources. So our assessment is $8,481, and our non-federal match is for $4,700. And really, this is one of the things that we utilize very often. And in fact, we do separate contracts with them for additional services, or like what Byron has done for the. So we should fully support this, and really can't imagine life without them as an employee, because they really do assist us in so many.
You, council members, questions or comments? Questions or comments? Well, my comments are these. I think we receive far more in value from membership in YVCOG than it costs us. This has been a tremendous organization over the years that has been in existence, and every city in the valley has benefited. It provides an opportunity for some real constructive dialogue and some ideas, and it's an opportunity for cities to work together, and I think that's a brilliant thing. So it keeps us from having to reinvent the wheel every single time we want to do something, because there's already a pattern there. So I'm completely in favor of this. What is the desire of council on this item?
I'll move to approve.
Second?
All right, motion by Councilor Hicks, second by Councilor Ripley to approve payment for membership with the Yakima Valley Council of Governments for 2023. Debate on this item? Hearing none, Madam City Clerk.
Councilor Ripley,
Yes.
Councilor Mayor Warrington,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Masucci,
Yes.
Councilor Wheeler,
Yes.
Councilor Hicks,
Yes.
Councilor Hart,
Yes.
Mayor Masucci, yes vote.
Thank you, motion carries. All right, council, if there's no objection, city manager would like to add one item to the agenda tonight that she had forgotten to add. She did pass out a handout. Is there any objection to this? I'm sorry to our two remote members, they didn't get a copy of this unless it was emailed. Was emailed? Okay, you should each have a copy in your inbox if you haven't found it already.
I have it, Mr.
And-
Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
As well.
And this will be item J, retreat for police department budget. Do you have that, Ms. Hart?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And I'm gonna hand this over to the city manager for her reports.
So I do apologize for the late ad. I realized about 2 minutes into I needed to give them answers this week, and so while we were conducting the meeting, I was getting this ready. So that's why I said my brain was going in many directions. So we have talked with acting police chief Lehman and Jamison Horner with, basically she's in charge of HR stuff. And we think that our police need a chance to regroup and do some team building, get out of Sunnyside, and just have a break and really just gather up and get their morale up. So I'm proposing that we authorize one-time ARPA money. We have set aside some, we're gonna kind of rearrange it a little bit, because this is one-time money, we won't have to be funding a salary, trying to fund money for this. And I think this is such a benefit to our police department that we need to invest in them right now. They don't need another, they need another police car, but they don't need that right now. They need this training in the next month. So we've also reached out to the city of Grandview and the sheriff's office. They will provide additional staffing and patrols, so we'll be covered for the time that they're out of the city. And I'm not gonna reveal the dates, because honestly, I just really don't want the public and anyone to know when this is gonna happen, because we want them to know that we're fully capable of taking care of our city. So this lays out exactly how much it's gonna cost. And I know it says $23,247.50. I'm recommending that we do $25,000 just in case something goes one way or the other. But this is exact dollars that I'm looking to get funding and authorization to go.
Council members, questions or comments?
I think right now our police department needs this.
Other questions, comments?
I think it's a good use of the ARPA money, and that, the police department needs it.
But it's a good use of money, but the overtime gets me because it's kind of.
Well, they consider different things vacation than perhaps some of us do, Mr. Hicks. I was reminded today that as self-employed, I'm never really on vacation. Phone with me everywhere I go, so I'll be safe answering my phone. All right, I also agree. When the manager presented this idea to me, I thought it was good. I know the entire department, as well as many parts of the city, were affected by the last week. A lot of these things came out rather suddenly, and people may have felt blindsided. We've got an acting chief. We've got a police culture that needs to be brought together. It needs to be brought together as a team, and I think this will be very helpful to do that. And I also think that our police department needs to know that they have the support of our community, they have the support of council, and they have the support of staff. They do good work, and they're capable of even more good work, and I think that they need to be encouraged in this. Further comments?
Mr. Mayor?
Hart. Go ahead, Ms. Hart. Either you can't hear me or I can't hear you, madam.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Oh, thank you. I think anytime we have an opportunity to bring together a group of people who are focused on the same kind of work and to get them on the same page and do the type of team building that this department and a lot of different departments can actually benefit from, I think we need to support that. So I'm in agreement that this is a good use of money for and for the health of our department, our police department. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Taking notes real quick on that, so bear with me. All right, further comments from council members? Okay, so the motion before us would be to approve spending $25,000 for a police department retreat. What is the desire of council on this item?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, so we've got motion by Councilor Beeler, second by Councilor Hicks to approve spending up to $25,000 for our police department retreat. Debate on this item. Hearing none, Madam City Clerk.
Ripley,
Yes.
Mayor Barnton,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tucci,
Yes.
Councilor Beeler,
Yes.
Councilor Hicks,
Yes.
Councilor Hart,
Yes.
Mayor, there's 6 yes votes.
All right, thank you. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is items from council members, mayor's appointment for boards and commissions. And I did not have a chance to talk to Jackie about this, so I have nothing at this point unless you have something ready to go. Council request status report. Manager is, for the record, every job all over this room tonight.
I'm pretty good at that podium because I don't think you can over it.
All right, Madam City Manager.
Okay, I'm going to let Trevor report out on the Roger Brooks and the progress he has made on that presentation.
Martin?
So for the Roger Brooks report, we're taking that item to the Community and Economic Development. We are making our way through the report, basically page by page, breaking the report down into some specific items. Most items that we can implement through policy, items that we can implement through design, and then items that may be another item that we can work on later on. We are about 3/4 of the way done with the report, so we will be taking elements from the Roger Brooks report. We are working with a group out of the Portland area called Mall Foster, and they are working to put together a downtown design. We'll be taking some of the pieces that we take out of the Roger Brooks report and implement those into the list. And then some of the other items that are in that Roger Brooks report, such as signage and window kind of visibility, the amount of window space that needs to be clear rather than covered. I'll be bringing that to probably some of those items I'll be bringing to the safety committee. Some of those items I will be bringing to the planning commission.
Item is the water tower painting. As I reported to council in the weekly brief, the city of put out for a logo and painting. With their reservoirs, the bid information was released to their small works roster, which is for all bids to receive by November 29th. They have a few weeks to wait for the results and see who submitted a bid. Engineer's estimate per logo is $60,000. Pasco's logos contains 4 colors, and each logo is 84 feet long by 25 feet high and placed at an elevation of 100 feet plus above ground level. Our estimate was based on information from T. Bailey, likely submitting a bid for Pasco. Move forward with the logo on the skyline paint. He needs to decide if the project falls within the thresholds for the small works roster in lieu of public bid process, and the city needs to decide size, how many logos, one side or both sides of the tank, and what the logo should look like. Not sure if there's a good time to bid this type of project. Would suggest the city advertise over the winter or very early spring so the contractor is selected, paperwork is done, and then just waiting for temperatures to rise. We need to prepare the plan and contract documents for Pasco's local painting. Hope this helps, and let us know if we can assist you. This was reported from Stephanie Ray at HLA, our engineering firm.
I've got definite opinions on how I want it to go, so I'm sure the rest of us, having read that and heard that, have formulated some opinions as well, so.
And to be honest with you, I'm currently looking at changing our city logo. I'm going to see if I can get the Arts Commission together so that I can give them a few ideas on logos and then bring forward that to you. And if we make that change, I think the most visible change would be the water tower. And I want it to have a sunflower. I'm sure you know that. On to the next item. Noise ordinance, quite honestly, we haven't had a lot of time to work on that. It is something that I believe staff needs to get on, and I believe that's something that I'll task the acting chief. And to work with Martin. I think that's the two entities that need to work on it. And code enforcement, if I could get Trevor to give us an update.
So we're moving forward with everything. All of our changes that we have made over the last are now in our municipal code online, so any of the public, any residents can go and see all the changes that we've made. Which is great, so we can kind of point to those now and say, here's in that. So we are moving forward with, I don't have too many updates. In progress.
Okay, we'd like to see.
I have to commend the fire department as well in the right harmful houses and a controlled burn where it really was a good thing in helping code enforcement as well. Fireworks ordinance, if I could have Chief Anderson let us know the direction that he's been going and what he's waiting for to finalize something, or at least go forward. Public safety meeting is Thursday, right?
I just need to know which way. So undecided. I don't think we can be more restrictive, right now with outright bans, so, safety meeting, so.
And Chief, I apologize. I had meant to have a public safety meeting set up after our last regular meeting, and I'm looking at the schedule that I have, and I don't have it. So therefore, we didn't set a date for a public safety meeting. And so, we can do that now.
The only thing that I would caution is December is like crazy. The first, well, for me, it starts November 28th and it doesn't end until December 9th. And then also, as you may know, you can see the increasing intensity of the items on our agenda. That happens for the next two meetings, quite honestly. After we realize, oh, it's the end of the year, we didn't do that, we didn't do this, it just gets bigger and bigger.
So with that in mind, if everyone could, I'll make sure I work with the manager and we'll get a date out, get a selection of dates, and we'll send that out to everybody who's on the public safety committee, and just let me know what the best dates are for you, and we'll try to get that done in the next couple of days, okay? I'll actually be working in the lower valley this week, and so I'll be able to do that, so let's make a point of tomorrow, sometimes let me know.
On the wrong phone to tell you what I.
Right, and no, you can let me know later on, that's fine. Is perfect.
Okay.
All right. Item C, other reports, announcements, and or questions by council members. Not all speak at once. Well, I want to take this opportunity then, since nobody else is speaking, to commend our staff. I know last week, it pretty much was a month's worth of work and stress and energy expended, and you all did an excellent job handling that. In addition, you handled other things that came up kind of out of the blue. I received all sorts of compliments about your handling of the Veterans Day event, not only the one that we heard this evening in the public comment section, but other people brought it up to me as well. So thank you all for your handling of that, and in your doing of that, you created a new system that's going to be used going forward, and that's kind of exciting. So the city working together with the community to make good things happen and keep things orderly, I think is well done. So you've done a good job there. I've heard from the greater community, not only in Sunnyside, but in the valley itself, who knows our acting police chief, that they are very much in favor of his appointment to that position. And so that's been good to hear from my friends and customers and people who know you from Yakima. They say good things about you, sir. So I'm pleased with the selection. I think it's an opportunity for you to do some good things. It's a difficult time and a difficult way to find the job, but I believe you're capable. Those are my comments. We've got a budget coming up here to approve fairly soon, and I know staff is working hard on that and able to approve that well before the deadline, so carry on there. Moving on, upcoming council meetings.
So as the, council agendas have been a rolling adventure, even as I was speaking tonight, I was adding things to the agenda planning folder that is only accessible to staff. So Jackie is going to show you a copy of all of the items that we have in our folder that she hasn't had a chance to update, because literally I just added one about 10 minutes. We have the 2022 budget amendment number 3, adopt the 2023 budget, Amoresco energy savings presentation, City of Toppenish ILA for court, final budget public hearing, LTAC recommendations, ag funding and ILA with Port of Sunnyside, and the police department retreat. I'm going to go to the next folder and make sure that we have items that I know about at least verbally. They have in the workshop yet. So the last meeting in December, we will have the ILA with Yakima County for internet services. We'll have the swearing in of Councilor Ripley, and then we will also have other items, I'm sure, as needed at that 13th meeting where we adopt the final budget. Is that correct, or are we?
We are planning to adopt the budget at our next meeting, hopefully,
Okay.
unless something crazy happens. I was planning for the 28th.
So am I to understand that we have not yet sworn in Councilor Ripley?
It's not. Oh, it's from 1/7/22, sorry. It just got stuck in the wrong folder.
I thought that had happened.
We'll put it in the right folder.
Was that a thing? Well, I'm glad you've been duly sworn in.
Okay, so that's what we have for the upcoming meeting.
All right. And as many of you know, in December, we try to accomplish what we need to do in business with one regular meeting, allowing everyone to have a Christmas that they can enjoy without having the weight of city business hanging over them. And that is certainly my goal as well. Thus far, we've been able to accomplish it while I've been serving on council, and I certainly don't want to be the first mayor to mess that up for people. So we're going to do our best to get everything done. But we've got a lot before us in our next meeting or two, and so, hopefully they're not going to be late meetings, but there's going to be a lot of material to go over. So we can look forward to that. Items from department heads and city manager.
So since my council weekly brief last week was really not a brief, it was kind of a book. I don't have really any new items to report to you. I did want to let you know that I was planning on taking vacation Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. It's looking like I will be on vacation but working from home because I have multiple appointments that are being asked for. I've also committed, and my daughter has committed to help me clean my house. So some of these meetings I may request as Zoom meetings, so I can just have my laptop, sit down, do a quick 3-minute meeting, and then move on. But I will be in town. I will have my work phone, so I'll just consider it kind of working vacation. And I'm probably still going to burn some vacation time because honestly, it's getting close to the end of the year, and it's that time of year when we need to do that. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Fire Chief Anderson.
Yeah, I guess I have a couple things. So right now, the crews are working on the ornaments, different bulbs, and I think those should be out. As far as the Tucker Sellers property goes, we and the builds fire training. As this thing, we've had such from multiple stakeholders, county cities, police departments, fire departments, public safety in general. The county thing is actually kind of morphing into they have provided some renderings that are beneficial to everybody. In addition to that, Chief Mason. Right now, we're working on that project, and then we'll develop a grant program. And then as far as the ditch, which I is now, ran into a little bit of a hiccup with, basically, I had was hoping that we could coordinate it. Basically, my plan is now. Close it up and then.
Attorney, right?
Mr. Riley. You can answer.
I don't think he does by the copious amount of emails that we sent him.
Always on hold.
Chief Lehman.
I just have a couple of things. First, I want to thank you, council members, for the retreat. I think we're working on our shop with the cop at Walmart coming up in December. Fires went out today. Drones you approved and the ARPA funds were ordered today. And just some real quick crime statistics. Over, we handled 865 incidents. The officers made 379 traffic stops. We had 88 arrests, 46 criminal non-traffic tickets, 30 criminal traffic tickets, so that would, and then 116 traffic infractions. Any questions?
Sorry, Admin Services Director Corner.
I've been working very busily on the budget. It is a very busy season for the finance department, with closing up, preparing to close up the fund year 2022 and then open up 2023. In addition, we do have some staffing issues, so City Hall's been very busy, but we're happy to report that we did get our utility bills out at the end of October with our new company, and that seems to have worked well. We haven't heard any negative feedback that I'm aware of in regards to that new relationship, so that is going well, and hopefully more issues on that front.
Let's see, what's your initials again?
C.
C. So, Mr. Martin, please report.
So not too much. I will be working with the Planning Commission over these next months to work with them on defining and incorporating an accessory dwelling unit into our code. And I will be working with the Planning Commission on exactly that.
So with that, we have nothing more to report.
All right, thank you. There being no further business to come before council and without objection, this meeting is adjourned at 7:49 p.m. Thank you, everybody, and good night.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Hart.